Hey, welcome back to JG3 Reviews, where I explore the world of fountain pens, ink, and paper. And today, it's a fountain pen. This is the iconic Lamy AL-Star, which I have never actually given a proper review. So we'll fix that today, looking at this year's special edition in Petrol Blue, which, I mean, how was that not going to end up on this channel, right? Anyway, we'll talk about the design, what I like, what I don't like, and we'll do a writing test and all that good stuff. So let's just flip that camera around and dive on in. All right, here we have the Lamy AL-Star in Petrol Blue. Comes in the typical cardboard box, and of course it sports the famous or infamous, depending on your opinion, Lamy gigantic paper clip, which, while being maybe a little bit over the top, is quite functional. I will give it that. If you're not familiar with the pen, let me just give you a brief introduction. The Lamy AL-Star is a metal version of the Lamy Safari, an ABS student pen made by the company and used all over the world. And it's probably the most copied fountain pen in the world. The AL-Star is the aluminum version of the pen, and that gives it a more premium feel, and I would say it is a better looking version of the pen, and so it does cost just a little bit more. I paid in the mid-30s for this pen. It's a special edition pen. Last year's version, which was the Azure Blue, I bought from Applebaum, I believe, for $26. Took me a little longer to get it, but the savings was quite good. And every year they come out with a couple of colors. So this is 2022, this is 2023, and both years there was another color available as well. But of course, it was the blues that caught my eye. So let's go over the design of the pen. You start at the finial, and this is a plastic insert, and the X denotes that it is a fountain pen. And then you get that giant paper clip, which again, I think it's a little over the top for my eyes, but it does function just extremely well, and so I do get why there are fans of that. Then you come on down. There is a bit of a not too sharp step down from the cap to the body, and then you have these two flat sides and the two rounded sides of the barrel, and of course you have the ink window on both sides. You will notice looking through the ink window today that I have a cartridge there. Maybe in this lighting you can't quite tell, but there's plenty of ink in that cartridge, and it is a useful window, especially if you're using the converter. Then we come on down and you see Lamy etched into that aluminum body, and at the end of the barrel, just the plastic insert that says Germany, because these are made in Germany. Now, almost everything I've just shown you is also something to keep your eye out for. This is, again, one of the most copied fountain pens there is, and I would advise you, when you're buying the pen, to buy it from a licensed distributor. I've never bought a Lamy Safari or AL-Star from Amazon. Not anything against Amazon, but there are some sellers on there that I just am not sure of, and I just don't know. If that price is too good to be true, then it probably is too good to be true. And there are copies out there, and those copies, some of them fairly good, and some of them rather obvious. But things you would look for, of course, are not just the clip, but how it is attached at the top of the cap. You would want to make sure that this is here. You want to make sure that that Germany is there. You want to make sure that the etching looks legit. And a telltale sign is that very often on the copies of these pens, the window does not line up correctly, and what you'll see is a bit of the pen. If it's like this when it's completely closed, it should line up like that. If instead it's like this, there's a really good chance you've got a counterfeit. And again, you can just avoid all of that worry by buying the pen from a licensed distributor, which again is what I've done for all of my Safaris and AL-Stars. Now, one difference between the Safari and the AL-Star is this plastic band, and then you come to that triangular grip, and some people like it and some people don't. I am actually a fan. I got over the clip because I like the grip. No rhyme intended. And then we come to the nib, which of course is a steel nib. This is a medium, but you can get extra fine, fine, medium, broad, and you can even get an additional stub nib that you can swap on here. One of the strengths of the Safari and AL-Star is the hot swappability of those nibs. All you have to do is take a piece of Scotch tape, put it across that nib and pull, and you can swap the nib right out. They're just friction fit. They slide straight off and straight back on, and it's really easy to do, and it's one of my favorite features of these Lamy pens. Then you have that flat-sided feed, which does a good job of getting ink to the nib and to the paper. Then we'll open the pen up, and you find that I'm actually using a cartridge, which is really unusual for me in these pens. In fact, this is the first box of cartridges I've ever bought, and I bought it together with this pen. I thought, well, you know, I think I'll try their blue-black ink and see if I like it, but I didn't want a bottle, so I just grabbed some cartridges. They are proprietary cartridges, although you can get ink cartridges from a couple of other companies that do fit the Lamy pens. And to answer your question, no, a converter is not included, but I will give Lamy credit here because their converters are really good quality and they are quite affordable. So grab you a converter whenever you buy the pen. I keep a few extras around, and they do work in some Parker pens as well, and so I use them for that too. Overall, the design of this pen, I have to admit, has really grown on me, and this Petrol blue is just a great looking finish. And I do think it's worth the upgrade from the Safari. All right, now let's look at a quick size comparison. I have here pens that I think are good competition to the Lamy AL-Star and Safari. One of the great alternatives that's newer on the market is the TWSBI Swipe. And one reason I think that it competes so well is that it comes in at about the same price, and it includes 2 converters and an even better ink window. Now, the weak point of the Swipe, and I really do mean the weak point of the Swipe, is the clip. If you need a strong clip, buy the AL-Star. If you don't really care about the clip, then I would consider that Swipe as a really great alternative. And it's also a great alternative because it comes with a round grip. So if you don't like the triangular grip here, the round grip of the Swipe may be more appealing. Then I have the Faber-Castell Hexo, and this, I think, is actually the greatest competition to the Lamy AL-Star. It is also a metal pen. It has a more moderate triangular grip that's more comfortable to more people. The build quality is on par with the Lamy. The nib on this pen is excellent. Faber-Castell makes great steel nibs, and it's right in the same price range. It really is, to me. This should be the stiffest competition to the Lamy AL-Star. I have no idea if that actually works that way in the marketplace, but this pen deserves to be head-to-head with that Lamy based on its build and quality and how well it writes. It is a really great pen. And then you have the Pilot Metropolitan, which is more often than the Hexo mentioned as a great first fountain pen or EDC carry pen and a nice metal pen and a good deal. And it's all those things, but it has a large step down. And like the Lamy, it uses proprietary cartridges. Again, the Faber-Castell does not. It uses international cartridges, which opens up more possibilities there and is a little bit more affordable to run day to day. So, you know, you might want to think about that comparison there. Now here are the pens and their posted length, and all of these pens post securely. All of these pens write well when posted as far as balance and all of that goes. Now once you get these pens unposted, they all come in pretty close together. It's a tight race. They're all comfortable to write with. They're all long enough to write with unposted, although your mileage may vary. All right, now we have the writing test. This is, again, a medium pen. You don't get a lot of line variation from Lamy nibs, so just kind of know that going in. They are stiff nibs. They also tend to be on that broader European scale, as you would expect, and a lot of times their fines write almost as broadly as their mediums, and that's kind of the consistent complaint that you get about Lamy nibs is a little bit of, there's a question of whether that's quality control or what. I find the pens are well made, and my nibs have always been well ground, but they are often broader than you expect them to be. That's all we got line for, isn't it? Let's do a wetness check here. There you go. This just plain lines as well. Yeah, putting down plenty of ink. And as you can see, that's just kind of a standard blue-black from Lamy. That is the ink today, by the way. Now let's do our little bit of a speed test here and see how that feed really keeps up and nib keeps up. This is with very little pressure whatsoever. All right, good. I see nothing. The only thing, there's just the ever slightest little, that looks like a pickup. It looks like it kind of came up here and back down there. So that might be me. I don't see anything else. So either that was me or the pen. I don't know. Everything else, though, just kept up. I don't think so. I think that was me. Nothing there either. So good. This pen keeps up quite well. And on that triangular grip, again, I find that to be comfortable. If you've never tried it, don't let comments drive you away from it. Give it a shot sometime. Borrow somebody else's first before you plunk down the money for a pen like this. But give that a shot. You may find that actually for you it's comfortable, even though you see a lot of internet complaints by people who just have a different grip and that it's not optimal for. That's very personal. But if you're wanting to get into fountain pens and make sure that you get what's considered to be a proper grip, then this can help you do that, and that's why it's designed that way, is to train your hand to that proper triangular grip. So what are my concluding thoughts on the Lamy AL-Star? Well, as I said in a video early in my YouTube channel's history, I at first did not like the crazy big clip, but it has slowly won me over, and now a few years in of ownership of Lamy Safaris and AL-Stars, all I can say is I was wrong. I enjoy these pens a great deal, and I love the Petrol blue. If you're into those kind of colors, you really ought to get that one this year. But I really do like the pen. The quality is there. The writing experience is there. They're just reliable pens, and I see now why they have such a loyal following. They've earned it, and yeah, I think everybody ought to have, you don't have to go out and buy every color that comes out, but you ought to have one, at least. You ought to have one. All right, that's my take on a Lamy AL-Star. Still eating that humble pie a few years in. But what about you? Do you like the pen, not like the pen? What do you think about the Lamy AL-Star? Share that in the comments below. And what do you think is the best Lamy AL-Star alternative? Would it be the Hexo? Would it be the Metropolitan? Would it be the Swipe? Or would it be some other pen that I didn't mention at all today? What do you see as the fiercest competition to this pen on the merits? And with that, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and God bless you, and I hope you have a good week.